My name is William Jefferson. When I first moved my family to the Phoenix area 22 years ago, I was warned that blacks and whites had almost always been segregated and that they would most definitely remain segregated. Within the first month after arriving in the area, I was involved in an evacuation from the Urban League office because of a reported Ku Klux Klan bomb threat. The same month, my ex-wife was stopped and had her license checked several times by local police officers. Each time because a suspicious person fitting her description was reportedly in the area. During that time period, we also had a group of local white high school students loudly cry out the N-word when their yellow school bus passed us as we entered our car in the parking area of the apartments where we were staying. During our search for a home, we were continuously steered to overpriced homes in what we would discover were the areas in transition. Neighborhoods where values were in decline. But God had other plans for us. You see, we found a home in the predominantly white Mormon town of Gilbert. Population, a little over 29,100 people. We were greeted by a neighborhood of people that made us feel welcome. Except for the occasional hate stare, frowns, and quiet slights over the years. Life has been pleasant in our town. Over the years, we accepted the modern version of Jim Crow that seemed to exist around us. Jim Crow in which minorities were only allowed in a small number of the low-level jobs in some towns. A Jim Crow in which minorities remained semi-invisible by never congregating in large numbers in public, avoiding community events, and almost never attempting to run for public office. The goal, quietly blend into the background and avoid making the community uncomfortable while enjoying the peace and tranquility. After living in Gilbert for 22 years, I have seen many changes. I have seen a quiet farming and dairy community blossom into a diverse semi-cosmopolitan community of over 250,000 citizens. After raising two sons here and being widely involved in community events, committees, and board participations, too numerous to present in this format, I listen to the voices of community members that firmly informed me that the modern form of Jim Crow is gasping for breath. The world is changing, I was told. No longer does a person have to be a white male and or be an active member of a specific religion to give back to the community or run for public office. Although I continue to be the lone representative or one of the few persons of color at most events, our community is maturing, growing beyond the biases and prejudices that many use to maintain a quiet but obvious segregation. Various parts of the nation increasingly widen into warring camps based on race or religion. An increasing number of citizens in towns like Gilbert are expressing their intolerance of the past. and the way it was. I am running for justice of the peace and have already endured my fair share of the roadblocks that must be endured. I have had signature sheets mysteriously disappear, been ignored and aggressively pushed aside on the same day. And yet, I maintain my journey because there is a counterbalance of community members that assure me that the world is changing and the prejudices of a few will not prevail. I would assume that my story is being repeated in towns throughout our great nation, some enduring even greater barriers than I. And to them, I sincerely pray that they will not be victim to any emotional or physical harm as a result of their attempt to give back to communities to which they have already given much. We Americans send our sons and daughters into harm's way to ensure rights and freedoms for strangers in distant lands, while some quietly allow the dilution of those same rights and freedoms of citizens living in our own community. Throughout our nation, we recently honored the diverse collection of Americans that defend our freedom, and yet many communities continue to maintain a quietly accepted system of minimal inclusion. What is the true value of those who sacrifice limb or life for the rights of all Americans? I have been blessed, for in the town of Gilbert, a growing chorus resoundingly answers, freedom. Freedom to vote for a diverse ticket not consisting of all members of any single racial, ethnic, or religious group. Freedom to run for office without fear of retaliation or exclusion due to race, ethnicity, or religious affiliation. Freedom to serve the community not as a member of a specific race, ethnicity, or religion, but as a citizen amongst citizens. I will continue my journey because I believe in the developing maturity of people in my community. Only time will tell whether Gilbert and cities like Gilbert have matured beyond the new Jim Crow and into an age of honest inclusion. Only time will tell. My name is William Jefferson, and I am still running for justice of the peace in Gilbert. And I can only hope that the citizens of my community will not have their right to vote for the persons of their choice denied by those who wish to reinforce